and welcome back to Friday Briefing. Thank you very much for staying with us. It's time for us to get to know our guest anchors a little bit better. And like I mentioned earlier when we started, this is Sister Elina Wangui, and at the end there is Sister Nuns Macharia. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies. I think where we can start from is, what did the Pope's visit mean to you? Maybe we can start with you, Sister Elina.
For me, the Pope's visit was very great. It reminded me first of all of my faith as a Catholic,
Right.
and also as a consecrated woman,
Right.
and much more being that this year is a year of consecrated people. It had a great meaning for me.
You'll be telling us more about who consecrated people are.
Yes, I will.
So tell us more about what is the experience like, seeing him in Kenya for the first time, after 20 years. What was it like for you?
For me, it was really exciting. Pope, I had seen him on TV before. I had never seen him live. There is something about him so real. His humility, his simplicity, and the way he's able to reach out to people.
Right.
Actually, for me, he reminds me of Jesus. Because Jesus walked among the people, and his messages, he didn't necessarily use many words, but he spoke in depth. Yeah.
And he spoke very many profound words during his visit.
Yes, and his message was not only to the adults, he had a message for the children, for the youth, for the elderly, for all of us.
For everyone. Sister Elina, you spoke about consecrated people.
Yes.
I'll ask you the word master shortly.
Yeah.
Maybe what does that mean?
To be consecrated means to be set apart for a purpose. And for the religious people, or for the Catholic Church has set apart some people as consecrated, set apart for the service of God.
Right.
Therefore, we have the priests. They are in the category of consecrated people. We have religious men and women are in the category of consecrated people. We have also some secular groups of people who are consecrated for particular purpose in the church.
Right.
Yes.
And youth, the sisters now, the Catholic sisters as we know them. And when I said that you're coming on the show, so many people had so many questions because they see, and especially with the Pope's visit, they've been able to see on TV. But there's so many questions about just what does it take to be a Catholic sister. I wanted to do it, but nikashindwa. Sister, maybe you can take us through some of the things that you have to have as a person to be able to be a Catholic sister.
Okay. First of all, to be a Catholic sister is a vocation or a call from God. And as Sister Elina just explained, we are consecrated, and this in the Catholic Church is actually built on our baptismal consecration. So as religious men or women, the baptism brought us to church, and then we take those vows, or we become consecrated in the religious life. We deepen our baptism. And therefore, for a person to become a sister, just to answer your question, in the Catholic Church, one requirement, you need to be a Catholic who is baptized, you're receiving a sacrament, you've been confirmed, and then it must be your personal desire. So depending with different people have realized their vocations at different ages. So there is something that God shows you, this is where I want you to go. But they say, it's a vocation, so it's answering a call that God has called you. And how do you know that God is calling you? Again, for different people, there can be different signs. But one of the things is that desire to belong to God in a deeper way. This doesn't mean that those who are not religious are not, they don't belong to God. They do, but when you become a consecrated person, you are actually set apart, as Sister said, and your agenda is God.
Right.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing, and Sister Elina, I want to talk about this, is that most of the times you are, with children and you meet very many people. So what happens to that desire of a human being, and especially a woman, to have children, to raise a family? What happens to that desire? Because at the end of the day, we are humans.
Yeah, wow, that's a good question. First of all, we remain human.
Yeah.
And with our humanity of the desire to have our family. But deep in us, as religious, consecrated women, I'm called to be a mother. And for example, in our congregation, we'll talk maybe as we get the questions, when we take our final vows, we are supposed to be called mothers. We are supposed to mother. We're supposed to give to people that motherly love. If I am a teacher, I'm supposed to show that love to those I'm teaching. If I'm a social worker working with the people, I'm supposed to show that motherly love. So that is how we get it. Otherwise, we remain human, and we're supposed to show our humanity in a deeper way to those whom we serve.
Wow. So you are mothers, so you should have so many children that you take care of. But of course, also something else, another question that very many people were asking about. It's about at the end of the day we are flesh, and we're here. And they're asking about so temptations. How do you cope with that? Do you ever think about anything to do with, say, physical intimacy? Is that anything after you say your vows, does it just go away?
Oh no, it doesn't go away, because we are human. When I was a little girl and we would say we want to become a sister, and they would say, oh, they're going to give you medicine. But it's not true. I've been a sister for more than 25 years now, but there's no drug we get. So we remain human.
Right.
And we can be attracted to people just like any other person. But we have a vow. Now we'll be talking maybe about the vows. We have the vow of chastity. The vow of chastity calls us to a deeper way of living our love. We are called, each one of us is called to love. But how do I love?
Right.
So Jesus Christ's love was universal. So my love is supposed to be universal.
Right.
And I have given my life that I have left marriage to have intimacy with one person for Christ.
Right.
But for Christ, to serve Christ in humanity. So when I get temptation, maybe I've met John and I'm attracted to John. But according to my life as a religious, the vow of chastity binds me in that kind of closeness to that person. So how do I overcome it? One, we have means to live our chaste life. Means.
All right.
One is our community life. We live in a community. And in the community, we're supposed to love each other as sisters.
But this is a community of sisters?
Yes.
Okay.
Every congregation, depending on what, for us, we're evangelizing sisters. We live in a community. That is one of our conditions. Then we have our life of prayer. The life of prayer helps me to overcome. I become into contact with this is a temptation. But this is not what I'm called to live.
Right.
I have given myself, I've vowed to God, I'm going to live this, John, and I'll live for Christ and his work.
Right.
Another thing is the life of sacrifice, living up to the mission Christ has called. So if I'm a teacher, I should work fully and love those whom I've called with. Then the temptation will be able to overcome it. Right.
Is it the same for you, Sister Rose? What else can you add on what Sister Bear is talking about?
Yeah, as consecrated people, truly prayer is very, very important. And if you remember when Pope was addressing the religious and clergy yesterday, he reminded us of our vocation and about prayer. And therefore, for me and for us as religious, prayer is what keeps us anchored in God. And therefore, as you know, in God everything is possible. But again, as Sister has already told us here, we are human. So when you become a religious, your humanity does not really go somewhere. So like I am a sister who is truly human, like any other person. But because this desire to be a religious came from God, it's God. I can't say that it's my power or my strength that has kept me a sister for more than, again, 25 years. But it's the connection with Christ, who, because of our kind of life, is somehow structured. So I do meditation, we pray in community, and then during the year there is a time set apart. I go for retreat. So during that retreat, it's like I evaluate my life with God. How am I growing to love you, God? Or am I getting some obstacles here and there? And therefore, during the retreat, it's a real time like to refuel and to see, am I in the right path in the Lord, or have I left and maybe? And on the other hand also, there is something we call spiritual direction. And spiritual direction is whereby, as a person, again, I know I'm human and I cannot make it alone. So on this journey to go back to God, I need other companions on the journey, and those companions, as we say, the community, as well as good friends and somebody that can help you to really see, is it a spirit of God I'm following, or am I following my own spirit, or even a bad spirit? And therefore you are able to speak to somebody who is spiritual. It can be a sister, it can be a priest, it can even be a lay person whose life of prayer is really strong. For example, you cannot just... Right, and we want to now see how well you can read the news, but before then, are there people who felt, they start the journey and maybe at some point they fail to finish it, or at some point they give up on the strong, that huge responsibility that you have?
Yeah, you can say that being a call, every time and every day is the time of discernment. And as Sister Rosa said, that we do have annual retreats yearly. We have daily meditation, daily examination of conscience. So as we go on, one may feel that this is not my call. Maybe one desired, maybe saw a sister, admired a sister, maybe was not. By the time she or he entered in that particular life, I'm talking he or she because we have also priests, we have brothers who are religious, and discovers that this is not her vocation. The same time we also said we live in a community. That may be an aspect that also the community sees. That this one, yes, she chose this life, she desired, but according to her characteristic, we'll be explaining that we have formation. That due to this formation and the direction of our religious life, this life is not fit for this person. And we will be talking a bit more about that. But now I want us to just go quickly and just see how well you do in news anchoring. But we'll get, of course, back to this very interesting conversation. If you can join me right here on, I call them the red hot seats. So you can have a seat there. And so you begin by introducing yourself, and then you can see clearly? You also see everything is fine? Oh, right. Let me just help you down. It's okay.
Right?
It's okay.
Right. Are you comfortable? Great. This is very interesting. Okay, so I want you to introduce yourself. This is the camera that you will be using. Yeah, so and then take it away.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Sub through the news. Okay, my name's Sister Elina Wangui, Evangelizing Sisters of Mary, a missionary congregation. And
I am Sister Rose Macharia. I belong to the congregation of the Sisters of Mercy. And as I said before, we are an international congregation, therefore we work in Kenya and in many other countries.
Now to the side slides of the last public event led by the Pope in Nairobi.
Drama ensued as Kenya National Youth Service recruits, in their pursuit of a suspected thief, mistakenly cornered and thoroughly beat up a student before realizing their mistake.
Stanley Bichu captured everything on tape.
Incident there, but going back to our guest uncle, I think he did well. I'll give you let me give you a 4 out of 10.
Okay, thank you.
But with practice, I think it's going to get better.
Okay.
Right, so we want to take a short commercial break. Please do rate them, do tell us what you think about how they have performed. Thank you very much for all the messages that I'm seeing on our social media. We'll be sampling some of them in a short while. Continue tweeting us, #Friday Briefing. Continue talking to us via text. The number is 22155. We take that commercial break. Don't worry, Willis the Wordmaster is going to be joining us in a short while from Kisumu County. Start tweeting and texting those difficult words that you want him to talk about tonight. Let's take that break now.